How are you, my fans, sneak peepers, and curious friends? I am difficult and demanding. If you want to know my real name, then hold still, and I might bring your wish to fruition. Before we begin, you can find this podcast show in iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Blueberry, Google Play Music, TuneIn, YouTube, and Stitcher. Now, unlike the other people in your life, I actually care about what you think. So meet me halfway, take a tiny moment, and give my podcast and each episode a review rating. This is the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast, keeping it real, uncensored, and shooting straight between the eyes. The third eye, that is. I am going to hit you with explicit truth. This solo show is outrageously honest and keenly witty with a view into life. Yes, I said life. That's what we do every day when we wake up from sleeping. We are living life. Well, some of us at least. Moreover, I hope to provide you with gut-wrenching laughter and a touch of wisdom. Let's get something straight. Really, really straight. I am truly, actually, habitually, and shamelessly difficult and demanding, and I completely own it. Now, I don't ask for much because I expect and receive it all. I firmly believe that if you expect shit, you will receive shit. What does that mean? Well, it means expect nothing but the best and don't settle for less. Now, as always, I, your host, Tara, am keeping it real and uncensored. Unplug from life and dive all into episode 19 of the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast, keeping it real on the ridiculous world we live in. Today's show is called Shenanigans. What if I told you that your expectations are a self-imposed prison? The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, should change its name to the Environmental Destruction Agency with a mission to kill off the average Americans. Did you know that pissed citizens become angry voters and they can shift the political scales in this country? Guess who? Guess who? Which of our citizens holds the power in this country? Before I begin, I am going to do a call out. What's a call out? Well, it's not a shout out. I am calling out you motherfucking lurkers. If you have entered my world, then be honest with yourself about it. You want to be here, and you know I want you here, so follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Finally, climb aboard and enjoy the entire show, because I am giving you plenty of ridiculous honesty. Once the podcast episode ends, I am keeping it going on my Instagram page at Difficult and Demanding and on my Twitter page at Mrs. D and D. Hello, and thank you for coming back. I just wanted to say that I greatly appreciate all of you that take the time to listen on a weekly basis. And I want to say hello to all of you new people. Before I begin, I just want to let you know that I'm sick, so please forgive how my voice sounds. And if you can overlook that, hopefully I can make this as enjoyable and entertaining as possible. So this week in my Come Into My World segment, I am talking about expectations. How do you set or establish your expectations of others? Have you ever thought about it? Is it the way a person looks? Is it the way they act? Is it their history or background? Most of us never give it a thought. It just happens. Magically, it just happens. We meet someone and they seem to vibe with us, and we automatically try to get them to slot them in some way, shape, or fashion into our life. All of these preconceived notions and expectations, I don't even think we realize that we're doing it. And it's actually quite stressful because we're buried underneath so much bullshit. Our expectations of others expectations of us. There's all these unspoken and supposedly understood rules of what we're supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. I mean, to be honest, I think subconsciously we keep shoveling more and more
unspoken and unwritten expectations on ourselves and others. We find people, or they come into our life, and we try to make them work for us. Listen to what I said. We meet people, they come into our life, for some reason or another, we're drawn to them, their energy, and we try to make them work for our life. And in turn, our end goal is to get them to work within our life. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? What I'm talking about is sometimes you vibe with people and you like them. But once you start to get to know the whole package, you may or may not necessarily should keep that person in your life. But since there's an inherent need to have more and more people surrounding you in your life to make you feel whole or complete, you're going to try to get a motherfucker to work, whether they work or not. You want them in your life. The more people, the better. That's what I said. Even if it's a square peg that you're trying to fit into a round hole, you're going to try to get that shit to work. Now, why do we do it? Why do we do it? We get so frustrated when things don't fall into place or roll out in the manner that we expect. And then that's when the control and the OCD kicks in. The control and OCD, when it applies to the other people that you brought into your life, that they're clearly not fitting. They're not working for you. They're causing more stress and strife than you actually need. See, if you cut that motherfucker loose, you would be freeing yourself. But some reason we're in this same cycle of dysfunction and need and insecurity and fear. And we keep trying to make some shit work. And what's funny is that, if you have a pair of shoes and those shoes you have outgrown, you're not going to keep wearing those motherfucking shoes. You're going to get rid of those shoes. And if you're fortunate enough, you're going to have the money to buy an appropriate pair of fitting shoes. So why is it that we don't do that with people? Why do we keep that same expectation and we keep pivoting? And if we keep pivoting, meaning if we come at it this way, we come at it that way, we come at it this other way, that eventually if we come at it the right way, we're going to get exactly what we want. But that doesn't happen. So you can keep coming at it every motherfucking angle that you want. But the fact is you're still frustrated and it's not working. And then once you get sick of coming at it from different angles, then what you proceed to do is you start slowly trimming away what's in that expectations. You start cutting off things as far as what you need, you want, and desire. Figuring if you skim away enough of what you expect, then eventually you will get something. But if you keep fucking carving shit away, peeling it away, trying to get your needs met, eventually once you keep peeling, there's not going to be a motherfucking thing left. There's nothing left. So you are spending your time, energy, and resources on a motherfucker who's clearly not interested. You are more interested in them. And you're so motherfucking interested that you are willing to make dishonoring decisions in regards to yourself just to get that motherfucker to fit and work within your life. Yeah, it may be a little too deep and a little complicated, but you can always hit rewind on this motherfucking podcast episode and you can listen to what I'm saying again. And then you start flipping out. You're controlling, you're OCDing, you're nitpicking. You're trying to fix the shit. You're trying to get something that's not working. You're trying to get that shit to work. And then, when all else fails, you think, I'm going to grab this bitch by the helm and I'm going to steer this goddamn ship and I'm going to make it what I need it to be. I don't know how, but if I can overpower it and my will is strong enough, then I can turn anything I want into reality. Yeah, you're forgetting the fact that you have another independent human being in the mix. But shit, if you think you can possess them, hypnotize them, overpower them, take over their motherfucking mind, so be it. But you and I both know that's not going to happen. You and I both know the only one, well, technically, depending on how controlling you are, you can have two miserable son of a bitches. But I mean, the person who's going to be the real miserable one is going to be you. It's going to be you. So you take the helm and you're going to get this to go in the direction that you want it to. Because our life, your life, has to look and be like this. It has to be X, Y, Z. It has to be the way you vision. It has to be the way that someone told you it should be. And you're going to do whatever's necessary by any means necessary with whomever's in your life that's available to make that happen. That is a lot of motherfucking stress, energy, and willpower. And you're still losing. You're still losing. You're still not achieving what it is that you're trying to achieve. All you're doing is fluttering away a lot of energy and life energy force trying to make some shit happen that's not working. So what happens when it doesn't work? What happens when the people in your life is not what you want or need them to be? What are you going to do when those expectations of yours are not met? Is that when the fighting, the bickering, and the resentment begins? Typically, that's usually how it works. Some people walk the fuck out the door and say, fuck you, I'm out of here. And other people keep trying to make shit work that just isn't working at all. It's not working. When does it all end? And where does it all end? What happens? People usually end up motherfucking miserable and hating each other. That's how I see it. Now, if you think I'm wrong, all you gotta do is hit me up on Instagram, send me a motherfucking email, let me know. But usually you end up trying to kill each other, can't stand each other, and wish that you never meet each other in the next motherfucking lifetime. That's usually how it works. Expectations are like unspoken wishes and affirmations. When you have expectations of another, are you giving your power away little by little? We cannot control others. We can barely control ourselves. At what point do you sit back and think about why you've placed a certain set of expectations on person A, on person B, or person C? Do you sit back and take a look at it? Do you conduct a self-assessment on why have I decided to make Mr. Blueberry over here to perform these expectations, Miss Apple over here to perform these expectations? Like, how are you handing out your motherfucking expectations? How are you delegating your expectations? And if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, that's my point. That is exactly my point. If you don't know how the hell Mr. Blueberry and Miss Apple got different roles and responsibilities as far as fulfilling your expectations, then that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is it because when you met this person, they told you what you wanted to hear and you seared that shit into your brain like, oh my God, OMG, this is it. This is the one that can fulfill this need or desire in mine. Is that what you did? And as time went by, those hopes and expectations of yours in regards to this person just grew stronger and multiplied and then spun off to some other shit. Yeah, that's what I said. You met a person. They hit that special place within you, whatever that need, that missing void in your life. And then all of a sudden you had visions of this person coming and fulfilling that need or desire within you. And then as time went by, those expectations of yours, they grew and they multiplied like they had motherfucking babies. And then those babies spun off and had more babies. So then you become the grandparent of your motherfucking expectations, right? They spun off. The fact is, we experience disappointment over and over again with some people. Depending on the role the person plays in your life, you may or may not attempt to discuss the issue to find some sort of resolution or compromise. It may or may not work. Your resolution, your compromise, it may not work. It may not be sufficient. It may not be sufficient. I want to discuss when it's not working. When your boss, husband, wife, children, friend, lover, coworker, associate, the list can go on and on and on. But you get my point. What do you do when a person with a certain role in your life is not performing up to par? Who sets that par? You do. Because you are the one that invited them to your life, and you are the one that keeps them in your life. So you're doing it for a reason. So you are the one that's establishing the baseline. You are responsible. I know it's frustrating as hell. And if you are emotionally tied to this person, then it becomes more complicated. On the other hand, you have someone like your boss or coworker that can impact your career your job, your livelihood. It's like a fucking emotional and mental prison. It's so stifling you cannot think clearly. And if you're like most people, you sit around bitching, moaning, and complaining. You're complaining about your loved ones. You're complaining about others. Shit, it must be so exhausting to be you. You may be asking, who do I think I am? Well, I think you already know who I am. And you also know what I am. The real question you should ask is not about me. It's about you. What the fuck are you doing about your problem? Because I am not your problem. When your spouse or partner or friend is not delivering, what do you do? What do you do besides talking shit about that person? Do you sit back and accept the status quo? Do you let them go? Do you become a drill sergeant and make them do what you want? All of those options are fuck all. Yeah, that's what I said. All of those options are fuck all. And it leaves you in a state of permanent misery. So you're thinking, if you know so much then, what's your fucking brilliant idea? Well, I'll give it to you. What if you take back your expectations? Okay, again, you're having a moment where you think I've lost my motherfucking mind. But work with me here. Work with a sister here. Give me a moment. Just give me a moment. What if you take back all your expectations? You take all that motherfucking shit back. When you take it back, that means you're taking it back and you're bringing it back to yourself. Let's be clear. You're not taking the shit back and giving it to someone else. No. You're taking it back and you're keeping it with yourself. You're probably thinking, Tara, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm talking about take back all of your expectations. Take it all back. How do you have a relationship with no expectations? Well, that would be a next logical question. How do you have a relationship with no expectations? Well, first, no expectations will eradicate your frustration and resentments. Next, if you calm your mind and heart, if you calm your mind and heart, you can see the relationship for what it really is. Okay? Step one, you take all your expectations back in regards to a person. Take them all back. Take them all back. Then you get to see the relationship as booty naked. You get to see it in its full glory for what it actually is. You will see if a person truly cares for you, adores you, respects you, honors you, desires you. You will see all that because they will just perform. Your expectations, they're non-existent. They are irrelevant. Because if a person is going to do something and they're truly going to do it, it's coming from their soul. It's coming because they truly care. If you got to hold a motherfucking machete or a gun to somebody's head, you have to remind them of what you need, how you need it, when you need it. Something's not right with that situation. And the only one that's suffering is you. It's you. They're still doing what the fuck they need to do. And you know why they're still there? Because whatever they need, they're getting it from you. But I'm talking about you and what you have expected and what you need and why you're not getting it. You're not getting it. It's really as simple as that. Whether you have expectations or not, that person will perform if they truly care for you. They will perform. They will ask you what it is that you need. If they don't know and they truly care, they will ask you, what can I do for you? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. We are too busy laying out our motherfucking expectations, thinking that we can write this script. We can program this shit to go the way we want to. And time again, we end up motherfucking disappointed and frustrated as hell because we can't understand if I have my motherfucking hands on the steering wheel and I'm trying to drive this bitch, why can't I get this car to the destination I'm trying to go? You know why you can't get there? Because you're fucking with the wrong person. You're fucking with the wrong person. You're in the wrong goddamn car. Matter of fact, you don't have to drive the fucking car. If a person is truly going to give to you, you don't have to do anything but to sit there and receive. That is what I said. You don't have to give. All you have to do is sit there with your arms, your mind, your heart open, ready to receive. And I think a lot of us spend a lot of time in relationships that are not working. They're not working for us. We keep thinking we're going to make that shit work, but it's not working for us. Because if it's meant to be and it's going to be, this shit just works. Like your heart beats, you breathe, your eyes blink, all those things work within your body. You don't have to tell your eyes, look eyes, time for you to blink. Look heart, it's time for you to beat. No, because it does it automatically. It does it because it's supposed to. It does it because it wants to. It does it because that's how it's supposed to be. So with a relationship, if you're doing all this stuff, honey, you're not paying attention to me, honey, you're not spending time with me, something is wrong with that equation. Something is really wrong with that equation. And what's more important is, why are you sitting around wasting your motherfucking life on a motherfucker who ain't ready, willing, able? Ready, willing, able. Simple. It's really that goddamn simple. It's really that simple. Yes, something is truly there, will be, with no interference or assistance on your part. Something that's truly meant to be will be there with no assistance or interference from your part. Now that is divine. That is truly divine. That's true purpose and intent. But to do this, it's hard and it's scary because you may not see or experience what you truly want with a particular person. It's a real test of a relationship. Will this person you love step up to the plate and give you what you want, hope, and desire without you asking for it? Will they do it without you asking for it, consistently and reliably? Can you handle the truth if the person comes up lackluster? Can you handle that? Because at that point, you have three choices. You can move on. You can accept things how they are, or you can keep hitting your head against a brick wall. And while you're hitting your head up against that motherfucking brick wall, I suggest you just hold your breath too. That's what I said. Keep banging your head up against the motherfucking brick wall and hold your goddamn breath while you're doing it. That's what to do. Hold your damn breath. Yeah. I said it because you heard it. I said it because you heard it. Keep hitting your head against the motherfucking brick wall and hold your goddamn breath while you're doing it. Now, when you sit back and you think about it, that image is quite graphic. Yeah, it's meant to be. That's exactly what I want it to be. I want it to motherfucking hit a motherfucking nerve within you. It's supposed to be graphic because that is what you're doing to yourself, mentally, emotionally. You are inflicting harm on yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, let's talk about the people further removed from you, from your heart, like a leader, a boss, a coworker. Let's talk about them. Titles. As humans, we live for titles. A title is a name that describes someone's position or job. It defines our very being. It's like, hey, if you get the right title, shit, I made it. Huh? That's what it means. You get the right title at the right company, you've essentially made it, right? A title is more important than money for some of you people. Yeah, I said it. They throw some motherfucking vice president, some motherfucking associate secretary. They throw some shit up there and you're like, oh shit, I made it. I'm the shit. I've made it. All because of a motherfucking title. Some motherfucking letters after your name has made you just rejoice. Like that is the biggest thing in the world for you. Now, you see, I'm not one of those people. I don't give a fuck about a title. I don't give two flying fucks about a title. Oh, you want to know what I care about? Let me tell you what I care about. I care about the almighty dollar, money, cash, dinero. That's what gets my heart to skip a motherfucking beat. Simple as that. I don't care about a title. I don't care about how many people directly report to me. If I can't eat those sons of a bitches, or they can't pay my motherfucking bills, then shit, it's as worthless as Trump's motherfucking toupee to me. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't motherfucking matter to me. Now, keep in mind, we're all different. And it's okay to be different. It's completely okay to be different. I mean, shit, you can have your titles. As a matter of fact, you can call me whatever the fuck you want to call me. And you can take all my motherfucking employees away. Yeah, that's what I say. You can call, you want to call me a motherfucking toll booth, fucking stripper. I don't give a fuck what you call me. You want to take all my goddamn employees? You can have those motherfuckers also. Take all that shit. Take it. And also, while you're taking that shit, you can watch my ass get into my Mercedes truck. That's what you can do. How do you like that? Okay, that's how I feel about a title. Now back on topic. How many people get these great titles, grand titles, and they are not up to par as far as performing the role, which means they don't have the character, the integrity, the skills, or whatever the case may be to be in that motherfucking job. Now, a lot of you know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what the hell I'm talking about. You have peers, you have coworkers, you have the fucking president of the United States. You have these people who are in these jobs with these titles and they're not performing up to par as far as their role, meaning they abuse their power or they don't know what they're doing. The shit isn't fair. It isn't fair, is it? Well, I got a secret to share with you. Life is not motherfucking fair. Okay? It's not motherfucking fair. It's not meant to be fair. You know why it's not meant to be fair? Because it's people who keep fucking up shit continuously. That's why life is not fair. The universe is balance. Humans are not balanced. We're crazy as a motherfucking bat. We are crazy as motherfucking bat. So you know why things keep getting fucked up? Things keep getting fucked up and not fair because the human beings got their motherfucking hands in the mix and they keep fucking shit up continuously. Now, think about the devastation and disappointment you feel when a role model or supposed leader falls from grace or the curtains are pulled back on their ass. Think about how you feel when they're exposed. Then there's a whole bunch of side conversations with anyone that will listen to you. Do you want to know why you feel so compelled to talk about it? It's because with every title, there is a set of expectations that come with the territory. It is unspoken and just understood. The funny thing is, it's understood by the bystanders. The fool that got the position may or may not have gotten that motherfucking memo. That's what I said. Everyone else who's watching this person in the role understands, okay, this is how this person's supposed to be. Yeah, we're bystanders. This is what we expect. This is what everyone expects. This is how it has been. Now, the motherfucker that's in the role, they didn't get that memo. They got another motherfucking memo. Actually, they wrote their own a memo about what they're going to do. They wrote it. They're thinking, it's now my time to do what I want, how I want it. Yeah, the person that got that title thinking, oh shit, it's my time, bitches, my time, bitches, my time, bitches. That's what they're thinking. That's what they're thinking. They're saying, those that were nice to me, those that I like, and those who will suck my asshole, I'm going to grant them favors. And the rest of you can go and suck on some daggers. Yep, that's what I said. You can go suck on some daggers. You see, the real issue lies with your expectations and your expectations of others. It always have and always will be that way. Your expectations. You can only really truly have expectations from yourself because you're the captain of your ship. You have no control over other people and whether they choose to behave by the so-called norms of society and their job title. Humans are going to be humans. We have to learn how to navigate life in the world to get our needs and desires met. And it may not come from the person you expect. It actually may come from you. Yeah, that's what I said. Your expectations may be met by you. Do you know how to get your own expectations met by you? Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. But just consider the question. You have to really dissect your expectation and get to the core issue. It's like taking apart an atom. It's like taking apart an atom. Each component makes up the whole. You have to find the component of your expectation and then start trying to address each component. Yes, it is tedious, but you are worth it. I believe there's enough in this world for everyone to live their version of abundance. The trick is knowing how to get what you want in a way that you have direct influence over it. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult to let your expectations of others go. But if you can do that, then you will be able to see the true character of the person and judge the circumstances of your situation more effectively. When we get caught up in our own expectations of others, we can sometimes miss the other options in front of our face or coming to us. Let's stop limiting ourselves and open up to all of the blessings of the universe, because there's plenty of blessings for all of us and for all of us to live the life of our dreams. Now, as always, if there's something that you would like for me to discuss, all you have to do is reach out to me. But I hope I've given you a different point of view of expectations and why it's a self-defeating cycle and how you can get your power back and be the person you want to be and live the life of your dreams without you having to rely on another. Because most of us are on our own journey and we're trying to figure shit out. So if you're too busy placing your expectations on another motherfucker who doesn't know left from right and they're trying to figure their shit out, they're never going to be able to deliver to you. They cannot deliver to you. You know why? Because they can't deliver to them damn selves. So you're stacking yourself up for failure each and every time. And I believe after a certain age, you got to start stacking yourself for success. You have to start looking at the situation, calculating your odds of failure or success. And either you got to bow out, step the fuck away, admit defeat, or you keep going because you know you can win. But to do that, you have to really look at the parties that are playing, how you're involved, how it may turn out, and start making better decisions. But it all starts with you. All right, next I am talking about the Environmental Protection Agency, known as the EPA. Now, under the Trump administration, the EPA has been taken over by someone who frankly doesn't give a fuck about the environment. Let's start that off right there, which is the catalyst for a number of things that's happening with the Environmental Protection Agency. And the first thing that they're doing is that they, under some fake ass notions, are streamlining the safety review process to assess new chemicals. So let's understand what I'm saying here. Streamlining is a way to make the process less robust and make it expedited, make it go as quickly as possible. Now, you and I both know, or maybe I'm the only one who motherfucking knows, who knows, whatever, but work with me here. When you have something that is potentially lethal, deadly, but also very helpful, and you're streamlining that process, which means you're not taking the time and care to understand fully what the impact, the side effects, the side impacts of what this chemical can or cannot do. That is some foul ass shit. Because on the one hand, you're expediting this because it's going to benefit the business that's making the chemical. But the people who are making it, processing it, carrying it, transporting it, and using it are the motherfuckers who are going to suffer the consequences. You see, once this chemical is made and once whatever this chemical is supposedly approved, and is out on the market, there's no damage control for the consequences and the side consequences and the multiplication factor, the multiplier effect of what this chemical is going to do to the environment and to the community. Once it's out there, the damage, the ball is done. It's already started rolling. So our Environmental Protection Agency is not protecting anyone. What it's doing is it's making the businesses more money who are developing these chemicals. Now, you and I both know from history, businesses don't really give a fuck about a few people dying. Actually, they don't give a fuck about hundreds of people dying as long as their shareholders are getting paid. They're not. Greed has no limits and no bounds to what it will cause some motherfuckers to do as far as putting a price, a value on a fellow citizen's life. Greed just knows no bounds. The EPA and the head of EPA, which is directing this, they're quietly, very quietly overhauling its process for determining whether new chemicals used in household cleaners to industrial manufacturing of toys poses a serious risk to human health or the environment. Okay, I'm going to say this to you one more time. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, is quietly overhauling its process for determining whether new chemicals that are used in household cleaners to the industrial manufacturing of toys, kids' toys, poses a serious risk to human health and the environment. I am blown away and I'm speechless. And it takes a lot for me to be speechless. They are worried about international terrorist threats when the real motherfucking threat is happening in our capitalist society. The real threat to our national security is not coming from overseas. It's the motherfuckers on Wall Street and our governments who are fucking us over. They think it's okay to generate more profits off of our backs, off of our lives, which will have long-term generational effects on old, middle-aged, and young people. How is it possible for a kid to play with a toy and get fucked up in the process? To get cancer in the process from playing with the toy because our so-called Environmental Protection Agency is streamlining shit to make it easier for businesses to get their things out on the market. Not everything we know or everything we research, we understand the full effects of it. If that's the case, then every time one of these drug manufacturing companies come up with some fucking medicine, they will put that shit on the street. No, they go through trials. They go through a lot of trials and tests and experimenting to try to do some form of damage control to keep it from impacting our community. So if it's not okay for drug manufacturers and pharmaceutical companies to be throwing out motherfucking pills like Skittles, then why is it okay for our Environmental Protection Agency to sit here and say, you know what? I don't care if your chemicals are safe or not. I'm here to help you get rich, bitch. And a few motherfucking babies die and a few old people, so be it. Fuck them. They didn't need to live. They didn't deserve to live. Because if they couldn't smell the fucking fumes coming from the fucking household cleaner, and if the kid didn't have enough sense to realize their skin was fucking itching from their toy, fuck them. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. That's exactly how they're acting. The agency will no longer require that manufacturers who want to produce new, potentially hazardous chemicals sign legal agreements that say or restricts the use under certain conditions. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. The Environmental Protection Agency will no longer require manufacturers who produce new potentially hazardous chemicals to sign legal agreements that restricts their use under certain conditions. Then what the fuck is why does the Environmental Protection Agency exist? I mean, shit, if the government wants to save money, why don't you just shut down the fucking EPA? Shut down the EPA. If the EPA doesn't give a fuck about protecting citizens and protecting people domestically and protecting people internationally because we have trade, what the fuck do we have the EPA for? What do we have the EPA for? And I think that's exactly what the Trump administration is doing. They are trying to undermine the relevancy of having the EPA under the guise of hindering profits when actually they're just trying to make the EPA look as useless as possible so they can get rid of it completely, which will allow big businesses to produce whatever the fuck they want, put these chemicals in our food, our body lotions, and air products, and fuck us all up while they're sitting in their rich $1 million motherfucking bubbles, air bubbles that they created for themselves while the rest of us are dying. That's exactly what's going on. Under the EPA administration, Scott Pruett, that's the head motherfucker in charge over there. Scott Pruett is the leader of the agency. And he has taken industry-friendly steps to loosen its regulation on legacy chemicals. What are legacy chemicals? Legacy chemicals are chemicals that were produced in the past that were more than likely proven to be hazardous, cancer causing, death causing, that mutation motherfucking causing type of shit. Scott Pruett is loosening the regulation on legacy chemicals. So things that restricted companies from selling or using these chemicals, whether it be in our food, clothing material, fucking toys, cars, he's loosening the regulation on that. That's a profit spike right there. That's a profit spike right there. Even though it's going to cause, it just amazes me because they're making these decisions. These motherfuckers will be gone within 10 years. They'll be moving on with their life. And you see all these normal human beings fucking dropping dead like fucking flies because of a decision that he's made. Like, if I was his wife, I would fucking rip his goddamn face off. Like, how can you sit back and watch and listen to your husband's misdeeds? How can you sit there when this motherfucker comes home and sits at the dinner table and he's approving or making a process so that companies that make products that are hazardous and put these chemicals in toys other kids are playing with? Like, how can you sit down, look at your family, look at your wife, look at your kids, and know that you are potentially putting out hazardous things that are going to kill other people's children? How can someone sit back and don't say a motherfucking thing about that? That's bold as motherfucking hell. And all these fuckers, they say they're religious. They're Christian. They're Bible. They're into the Bible. Treat others like you want to be treated. What is this nonsense? There's no way that me as someone's wife, if my husband did some shit like that, we will be fighting to the motherfucking kingdom come. It would be on in this motherfucking bitch. There's no way that you can stand by and let someone do some shit like that. And you know what? When people are dropping dead, you know what these 2-bit motherfuckers going to do? They're going to issue a fucking apology. I am sorry for my actions and it's all a fucking farce. It's a farce. Last year, the EPA delayed bans on chemicals already in widespread use, including lethal substances and paint thinners and pesticides linked to the development of disabilities in children. Did you guys hear what I said? When Pruett came into office, there were chemicals, a list of chemicals that were already being banned because of the fact that they cause disabilities in children. And this motherfucker has delayed the banning of those chemicals. How much more proof does the forgotten need to realize you're not only forgotten, your ass is going to be fucking dead. Dead. When he said the forgotten will no longer be forgotten, you're right. You won't be forgotten. Your ass will be motherfucking dead. Your kids will be dead. Your fucking grandparents will be dead. Your whole goddamn legacy and future will be dead. You will be a figment of everyone's goddamn imagination. It means you will be non-motherfucking existent. They are delaying the banning of chemicals that are known to cause disabilities in children. Children will eventually become adults. Adults. So if children are developing disabilities as a child, then that adult will be a person with disability. And we know how hard it is for persons with disabilities in the world to provide for themselves, to get jobs, to live a decent life. So they're creating a whole generation, a whole group of people who are already disadvantaged. Because of some shit that had nothing to do with them. It had nothing to do with their motherfucking genetics. It had nothing to do with them. It had to do with the fact that some reckless motherfuckers, reckless, greedy motherfuckers are making decisions based off of money. How much money does a fucking millionaire, multi-millionaire need? Like, when is enough enough? How much money do you need to stop fucking over people and actually start caring about them? So what? You created a chemical that could be used to do X, Y, and Z. But if the costs, the hazards of that chemical outweigh its benefits, where's the leadership to figure out, you know what this is going to do has more of a problem than what the good it generates. So we're going to get rid of this. No, you know why? Because they've spent money in research and development. And they figure, you know what? If we can make money off this shit, so what? A few motherfuckers will die. There's enough poor people who are fucking that will replace the motherfuckers we just killed. This is how reckless and how insensitive our leaders are. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable that you don't give a fuck. A man who has kids doesn't give a fuck about a chemical that causes disability in his children. Now, I want to tell you something. Even after the EPA has approved a chemical, they can't keep track of actually how the chemicals are being used. Meaning they can't keep track of the applications in which these chemicals are being used, whether it's toys, food, creating whatever other spin-off products. There's no control of it. So once a company actually receives that approval, that original approval, they can take that shit and run with it. Which is why a number of us, we start looking at ingredients on our foods because we realize that not a lot of the shit we cannot pronounce because it's shit like that. Once they go through the first process with the EPA and the EPA says, you know, you are approved to be used to manufacture tires. But this business also knows that they can use this chemical as a substitute to make other products. They're going to sell that shit. They're going to sell that shit. And if the EPA doesn't know, and what the EPA doesn't know and what the EPA doesn't find out, they're perfectly okay with it. Because at the end of the day, when their fucking asses get caught, you know what they're going to do? The EPA is going to fine them. And this company is going to have made so much motherfucking money after killing and causing so much disability and illness. All they're going to do is write a check. And that's just going to be a cost of doing motherfucking business. That's what I said. The EPA is becoming more of a hoax. These companies go through the initial process saying, we're only going to use this chemical for this. Once they get the stamp of approval from the EPA, these bastards at these corporations, they go and they sell their chemicals to any and everyone who's willing, able, and ready to pay for it and use it and put it into other consumer products, which we could be ingesting internally or wearing it on our body or using it within our house and at work. Which is why people are getting sick nowadays from cancer and other different things, because we are being exposed to some shit that we, one, never agreed to. And two, they were never supposed to be using it in the first motherfucking place. So once the chemical is out there, then it's out there. It is out there. And we are relying on the trust and integrity of these corporations to do the right thing. But you and I both know it's all about the dollar. It's all about money and profits. And they don't give a fuck about regular people. They don't. Because if they did, there would be restrictions. There would be balance. There would be an understanding. And they were saying, you know what? Most of you motherfuckers aren't worth your life anyway. So shit, buy our product, make us rich, and then die, motherfucker, die. The last thing I want to talk about is the fact that the United States of America, we typically think that we have one economy, one overall economy in Wall Street. But actually, we have two separate economies. In the large metro areas, we have most of the white collar workers. And in the smaller places, we actually have the blue collar workers, you know, resource extraction, manufacturing, agricultural, which has not grown as reliably or explosively as the industrial technological economy. The white collar economy is actually being restricted. It's being hindered by the incentives or the policy of the Trump administration. He's restricting immigration and trade, and it's going to impact state and local taxes. And this is what is called a prosperity paradox. Economic growth is typically or has been in the Democratic leaning metro areas, which are thriving. So basically the big cities where most of the white collar office types of jobs, they are thriving very much. That's where a lot of foreign laborers, people on H-1B visas, they're coming in, they're performing in these roles, and a lot of wealth is being generated. But unfortunately, because of how times have changed, those manufacturing, there's those call center types of jobs that are in middle America, they are really being hindered by the nature of our economy. And Republicans are typically rooted in the non-urban communities, largely excluded from the opportunities on the coast. Now, here's the funny thing. The levers of control within Washington are in those non-urban states. The control right now that's being held in Washington, D.C., that power, that influence is coming from Middle America. So where most of our nation, our country's wealth, our gross domestic product, our gross national product is being generated, is generated on the coast. But they are not the ones who have the controlling power within the Congress and Senate. That is coming from the area of the country that is being deprived the most, that's suffering economically the most. Don't you think that's funny? So the people who have the most wealth in this country don't have much pay or say in power. And the people who are suffering economically are the ones who have the power within Washington, D.C. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That's how our Constitution and everything was made or written up. But I find it very intriguing that the policies and things that are being created within Washington, D.C., which will be in turn more favorable for Middle America than the coast. Because people in Middle America who have the power, they want laws and things in place that's going to help them prosper and boom. They're not really concerned about what's going on the coast. So the people on the coast are going to be impacted. Companies and things like that are going to be impacted by their immigration, by their trade policies and everything else. And that's where the prosperity paradox comes into play. How long can places that are lagging in the economy dictate the terms of our politics and policy? How long can they be able to do that? How long does that make sense where the parts of the country who are not generating the most revenue, the most opportunities, the future legacy of our country, how long can we allow them to hold the reins of power when they're not producing the results that are needed to keep our nation relevant and moving forward in this global world? How long? That's a real question. How long are we going to allow it? Because they have the political power. The coasts have the economic power, but they have the political power. And there's nothing wrong with that because there's nothing wrong with having balance. So I'm not saying they have no money, they should have no say, they should shut the fuck up and go dig in dirt. No, that's not what I'm saying. But there has to be some level, some balance between what is going on here because it's completely skewed. We citizens of this country are looking at each other like we're isolated, like we are separated from one another, and we're not. The middle of the country are feeling deprived, economically deprived. They're not heard. They're overlooked. And the people on the coast saying, look at what we're generating, the technologies and everything that we're doing. And look at how we're bringing this nation forward. And why are we being slapped in the face and on the wrist because of what we're able to achieve and produce? And I think it's very important for us to try to kind of find some synergy and blend the two together to realize we are dependent upon one another. But here's the funny thing. What I read or someone said. Unhappy people vote. So if the people on the coast are prosperous and doing well and living their life and, driving their German vehicles or the Cadillacs or whatever it is that they like, if they're doing that and the people in the middle of the country are voting, then you can also understand something going on here because they don't have much of a say as far as their livelihood and where their future's going. So where they can exercise that power is in the voting booth. So the question I have to ask all of us on the coast is, what the fuck are you thinking? You are taking for granted a right and a power that you have, and you're forsaking that because of all the prosperity that you are receiving and achieving. Now, if you don't get your shit together, you're going to find that you're no longer in your motherfucking cubicle on your laptop, and you are going to be in motherfucking Minnesota digging for potatoes. So you really have to think about what it is that you should be doing that you're not doing, because this is what's making our political and economic system extremely, extremely imbalanced. The great irony is that as the economy has had or has growth in industries that are driven by technology, That's led to vast declines in traditional manufacturing and even agriculture. So as we on the coast are more technologically inclined, we are producing these technologies or basically getting rid of people's jobs in the middle of the country. Now, that's a great thing because it lowers the cost of goods and services. But here's the thing. If you are going to create technologies that are eradicating jobs, then I think there's a social responsibility to in turn retrain and supplement and complement what we are taking from others. Because everyone needs to eat, everyone needs to have a place to stay, everyone needs to be able to provide for their family. So I think there's something that's missing on the coast and why we have this political system like we have it today. Going forward, if we're creating technologies that's going to get rid of jobs, I think it should go hand in hand that these same companies are responsible for going out into the communities and retraining and helping to retrain folks that's losing their livelihood. I think that's only fair and right. That's social responsibility. We're so focused on creating innovation, and we're so focused on making more and more money. But the fact is, you're leaving people behind. And the point of developing new technologies is to make everyone's lives easier. A broke motherfucker doesn't have an easy life, okay? You're making their life they're making their life more difficult. And when you take someone's job away to provide for their family, they're going to have some issues with your ass. They're going to have some real issues with your ass. And how they're going to do it? They're going to put the screws to your ass by voting in the booth and basically electing crazy ass motherfuckers to office. That is what they're going to do. Those areas declining economically have not been depopulated yet. And the economy has devastated them. So their only recourse is to vote for somebody who was different, like Trump, that told them what they wanted to hear, what they needed to hear, and someone that understood them. Yes. We are so busy on social media and everything else like that we are not looking in front of us and back of us and to the side of us to our brothers and sisters who needs us. Everyone wants an easier life. Everyone wants a better quality of life, but they also don't want to lose their motherfucking job in the process. So as our job as human beings, we are supposed to help bring each other along. The stronger is supposed to bring along the weakest. The smarter are supposed to bring along the not so smart. That is how it works when we're taking care of humanity on this earth. And I think there's an area of opportunity for us to go back and help bootstrap others so they have the opportunity and way to take care of them and their family. Because no one wants to be deprived. No one wants to be on motherfucking welfare. No one wants to have fucking handouts for them. If you've always had a job and provided for your family, and because of some fucking tech genius over here in Silicon Valley has come up with some shit that got rid of your job, you're gonna be hating. You're gonna have some issues with that motherfucker. And the way you're gonna fucking pin it to him, you're gonna pin it to him by electing a fucking cuckoo bird like Trump into office, and then you're wondering what the fuck happened. What the fuck happened is that you got successful. You fucked over your brother. And you didn't come back and say, here, let me lend you a hand. Let me help you out. This is how you can pivot your career and bring you and your family ahead. The information technology age has lasted for about 100 years. And it's probably going to last even longer and evolve into something else. So we have to look very long and we have to look very hard at how these social, economic, capitalistic adjustments, how it's impacting others, and how do we create some form of a safety net. And I'm not saying a safety net as in welfare or something like that. I'm saying a safety net as a retraining, a reorganization, a realignment of our citizens to help bring them along. If a group of us are moving forward, and a group of us have fallen to the back, that ship is not balanced. And what's going to happen is that ship is going to crack in the middle. So we have to realize that the coasts are creating and innovating, but jobs that can be done in the Midwest, like call centers, manufacturing, things like that, you should try to balance that out and not send it completely overseas. You need to be able to give people an opportunity because not everyone wants to live in the hustle and bustle of a big metropolitan area. It's a lifestyle choice. But the people in the middle of the country, they need to eat too. Those motherfuckers want to eat too. And they're not trying to eat fucking rocks and kick dirt. That's not what they're there to do. So how do we balance our success and share our success with others so that their family can see a way in the future? Now imagine the Midwest, the middle of the country. What happens when that shit starts getting depopulated and those populations starts moving to the coast? You have a whole area of land that's desolate. First of all, that's going to create a whole batch of issues for the coast because they already have housing issues and there's a high cost for housing and everything else here is going to raise costs. But then you have a whole opportunity of ghost land missing, and that's not going to work. So all these leaders who have these vision planning and strategic planning for their companies, you need to start coming up with plans that start allocating people, jobs, and resources to areas, low cost areas like the middle of the country, and keep other parts, so quote unquote high value parts, on the coast. There's enough for everyone. We don't have to ship everything up over motherfucking seas. We can keep some shit here and help the people that are in front of us. And that's what it all boils down to, is greed, greed, greed. That is why the jobs that used to go into the middle of the country are being shipped overseas. It's because of greed. It's because of greed. There's only so many white collar jobs. So if everyone wants a white collar job, that's not possible. You're going to have a lot of fucking unemployed white collar motherfuckers. You need white collar. You need blue collar. There's a role and a job for everyone for a reason. And going forward with leadership planning and vision planning, you need to start dissecting the shit that needs to stay on the coast, that can be in the center of the country. And last but not least, if you had to ship some shit overseas, you determine that classification. A 3-tiered classification. It's as simple as that. Why can't we have a win-win situation for all? There's enough for everyone to eat. No one has to be deprived. Because when you deprive someone, you make them angry. And when they're angry, they don't think clearly. And when a motherfucker ain't thinking clearly because they feel that you've taken some bread, some cheese, some money out of their pocket, you better believe they're coming for your wallet. They're coming from any and everything that matters to you. And they're going to make your life difficult because what you have told them is that I only care about my success. I don't give a fuck about you. If you want something, go get an education, figure it out. Otherwise, peace out, bitches. And that's wrong. And when you fuck people over, you turn a blind eye and act like you don't see what the fuck is going on and they're suffering due to your choices and your innovation creativity, they're going to chop you down to size. And that is why we have Donald Trump and people like Mr. Pruett and agencies like the EPA ruining the shit for us because you made a whole bunch of people angry. And these people who do the mining, extracting, and agriculture, they have elected people and put people into office who don't give a fuck about those rules and regulations. You know why? Because they need jobs. So if they roll back these policies and regulations to get this shit out onto the market faster, that means jobs are created for them. And yes, it's a very destructive process. And people are going to die and get sick of it. But that is what has happened. We've had success on the coast. The jobs that used to go to the middle of the country are being shipped overseas. You have a whole area of people who are still there without jobs and they're miserable. They're angry. They're pissed. They went to the booths. They voted for these fucking crackhead motherfuckers who are in office that told them what they needed to hear. And you know what they told them? We're going to roll back regulation on environment protection. We're going to roll back regulation on mining. We're going to roll back banking regulation. They're going to roll back all these banking regulations. You know why? Because they just want a job to take care of their family. And because of this cut off your nose to spite your face type of knee-jerk reaction they've had, they're going to have a job. But we're all going to be sick and dying because of it. And all it took is some visionary leader to realize, okay, these jobs stay on the coast, these jobs go in the middle of the country, and these particular jobs we can send overseas. It takes someone with some balls and some sense to do some shit like that. But no, we fuck up. We fuck up in our choices. Then we get fucked up because of our choices. And then someone with some sense said, okay, how can we do this better? How can we fix this? You don't fuck over people with voting power and think that they're not going to exercise their right. Angry people like to make other people motherfucking miserable. Happy people don't fuck with you. So if you find a way to keep these motherfuckers happy, they will get the fuck off your back and we will all live a happy, prosperous life. But if you keep fucking over the people in the middle of the country with the power, they're going to turn the screws on your ass, which is why immigration has changed, our trade issues have popped up, and all these things are happening because there's been a group of people who have suffered too long, quietly, and they've had enough. And now they're coming for your white collar ass. Are you disappointed this has come to an end? Well, it doesn't have to. Reach out and let me know what you think about this episode and my podcast. You can try and slide into my DM, but I will kick your ass out. So I suggest you hop into my DM on Instagram at difficult and demanding or Twitter at Mrs. D&D, or leave a comment on one of my posts. Now give. My episode links to friends, family, associates, frenemies. Hell, give it to your enemies. Actually, I don't give a damn who you give it to. Just give the shit to people and bring laughter to others and show your love for this podcast. Episode 20 is coming soon on April 6, 2018 from the I'm Difficult and Demanding podcast, keeping it real on the ridiculous world we live in. So if you are bored in the meantime, you can visit my world anytime on Instagram at Difficult and Demanding and on Twitter at Mrs. D&D.